When one thinks of courage, they generally think of a soldier, a cop, a firefighter, or maybe even a teacher. One of the last professions that comes to mind would most probably be a professional basketball player. And if one does happen to think of this, it will most likely be in regards to someone of small stature, such as the 5'3" Muggsy Bogues playing point guard. The last person one would generally think of when it comes to courage is 6'9", 240-pound forward named Wayman Tisdale. Why would anyone think of courage in a situation like this? When an NBA star of this size has millions of dollars, all the skills one could ask for, and is liked by millions of people. Well, the story of Tisdale is not the storybook tale that so many men live as an NBA player. Tisdale's career started off better than most athletes. He played college basketball at the University of Oklahoma from 1983 to 1985 and was the only player in college history to be selected to the All-American team in their freshman, sophomore, and junior seasons. He was then selected number 2 overall in the draft after his junior season at Oklahoma. He was drafted by the Pacers and played 12 seasons in the NBA, playing for the Pacers, Kings, and finally retiring with the Suns. Here's a picture of Tisdale playing for the Kings. While being a superb athlete his whole life, Tisdale was also an extremely gifted musician. He played the bass guitar and sang, and was eventually inducted into the Oklahoma Jazz Hall of Fame, while also having a #1 single atop the jazz charts in 2001. Here is a picture of Tisdale playing the bass guitar at one of his concerts. I know, this does not sound like the life of a man that requires much courage to succeed. Up to this point, it was not courage that set Tisdale apart. It was the way that he lived his life. He was one of the happiest and nicest guys that one could ever wish to meet. Reggie Miller, his teammate on the Pacers, once said, "He was the nicest man in the world, with the biggest heart and an even bigger smile." It is said by many that have met him that he is always smiling and happy, no matter the circumstances. Well, in 2007, after falling down his stairs and breaking his leg, Tisdale would be delivered news that would undoubtedly test his seemingly infallible personality. This news was that he had bone cancer and that he would need immediately chemotherapy. However, since he was so big and no one his size had ever been under similar chemotherapy, the first attempt at chemo was a failure. The second attempt was only mildly successful, and so in 2008, Wayman had to undergo an amputation just below his right knee. Here's a picture of Wayman seen fitting his prosthetic leg. Look at how big it is. However, this hardly slowed Tisdale down, as he was almost 4 months ahead of schedule in learning to walk with a prosthetic limb, and throughout the entire rehab process, it only temporarily slowed him down. It only temporarily slowed him down physically, and never slowed him down mentally. He remained the smiling and kind-hearted person throughout all of his struggles. Wayman handled his struggles so well that a former classmate and now governor of Oklahoma took notice of his attitude even in the midst of this great sickness. Governor Brad Henry said, "Wayman Tisdale was a hero both on and off the basketball court. Even in the most challenging of times, he had a smile for people, and he had the rare ability to make everyone around him smile. He was one of the most inspirational people I have ever known." Regardless of his courageousness and refusal to let his circumstances get him down, unfortunately, Wayman Tisdale died at the age of 44 from the cancer that he battled for 2 years. I decided to talk about Wayman because of the tremendous heart that he showed when faced with the ultimate odds. He had all the reason in the world to be bitter and hateful due to this sickness, because he was so blessed and he was now faced with an extreme adversity. However, he decided to dig in and battle the cancer with the love of his family, love of his friends, and the support of his teammates. and he made the last 2 years of his life as enjoyable as the first two. I will end by suggesting that you follow the link provided below to a song performed by Toby Keith about Wayman, as they were extremely good friends. I will also conclude with a quote by former Oklahoma teammate Stacey King, who said, "Wayman's one of the biggest reasons why I chose Oklahoma. I wanted to be a part of something special, and it made logical sense to go to OU, because I wanted to pattern my game after him. I wanted to be like him. People used to talk about be like Mike, but I wanted to be like Wayman. We've lost a special person. I don't think there will ever be another Wayman Tisdale."